Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Touched by a Horse. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, with today's host, Annette Price. Hello, Annette.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
I am so good. I'm so honored to be talking to you today. We're in the middle of this series. I actually believe this will be episode 5 of a 10-part episode, or 10-part series. And, we've had some conversations to this point with other authors, and I'm curious, where everybody seems to have a little bit different audience. Like, who is your audience? How does your work different than what we've heard so far?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to just start with a little story about how this all came about for me.
Please, yes, please.
All right. So 25 years ago, I began a journey as I tried to figure out a way to put my life back together. I was in a support group for women who were also trying to figure out the chaos of their lives and make sense of and find a way to move forward. I was there as a survivor of domestic violence, but my life was upside down. I had a young son. Sometimes I was so confused. I would find myself at a stoplight and I couldn't remember whether to go right or turn left. Wow. Life was very disjointed for me. It was difficult, very difficult.
Yeah. Wow.
In our group, we were, which was led by a woman therapist, we were working with this technique called voice dialogue. And it's a process of recognizing and acknowledging all those parts of self. Who are you?
Yes, I love this kind of work.
Yes. Yeah, it was fascinating, but we were attempting to make sense of our world and the chaos and like I said, to move forward, to make some sense. So we found out about this, that there was an expert coming to Denver, Colorado, and he was scheduling clients to go deeper into this voice dialogue work. And I called and I made an appointment because I had a problem. In the months right after my divorce, I began experiencing these debilitating night terrors. It was nothing like it ever in my life. And I would wake up in the middle of the night so terrified. Every cell in my body was listening, trying to figure out where the boogeyman was in my house because I knew he was there. There was a boogeyman in my house.
Yeah.
Metaphor? I'm not sure. But what I do know was I would be so afraid I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't even stick my big toe over the edge of the bed.
Wow.
Sometime in the night, I would fall back asleep, I guess, because I'd wake up in the morning totally exhausted. And I just felt like somebody had beat me in the night with a 2x4.
Wow.
And so at my appointment in Denver, I walked in and I met this really kindly elderly man, and he I told him my dilemma, my problem. And he started to lead me through a series of voice dialogue exercises. And for the next hour, I explored my own voice, my own personality, who I was. But the thing about it is, and it gives me goosebumps when I think about it, and I've written about it several times, but to say that hour was a life-changing experience is so inadequate, because I left there, I drove home, and I never, ever, never, ever had another night terror in my life.
Wow. All from this experience of the voice dialogue.
Voice dialogue. So let's fast forward 10 years, and I was able to manifest horses back into my life. I grew up with horses. Then I became a young adult and moved into marriage and kids and all kinds of things. But I needed to bring horses back in my life. I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then 10 years ago, I met this woman, Melissa Pierce, and she had just begun teaching a course on, with her years and years of Gestalt therapy, working with clients, married to her love of horses and her expertise with horses. And I knew I found my next teacher.
Mm.
I was ready. I was prime.
Yeah.
And so the lead in for my story is that voice dialogue is just one way that as Gestalt coaches we can work with our clients.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have many tools. We study for 2 years to go in this training to get
Right.
where we are. And
Yeah.
voice dialogue is just one of those. But for me, I have a 25-year history of this, and it was just like it. I know it works. I mean, it worked for me so long ago. And today we call the work mandala. A lot of times we call it mandala when we bring a client in and we start working with their parts of self and trying to find, it could be your inner child. A lot of people have heard that before. Or it could be your inner critic, could be your inner hero.
I love this. Yeah. Yes, I love this. I love this. I've done this kind of work. I read a book a couple of years ago called True Purpose from Tim Kelly. And it goes into active imagination and a lot of this type of dialoguing with your parts.
Right.
Love this because it was so, and like you, for me, it was a life changer where I felt like I got answers to things I couldn't access before. Right. Yeah. Some clarity would come through. So I love that you're saying this. I totally connect with what you're saying.
Oh, cool. Well, so Gestalt is a process. When I tell people that I'm a certified equine Gestalt coach, a lot of times they kind of go foggy there. And the part that they don't understand is what Gestalt is. It's not a common word. Now in the series of doing this work and talking to us, you probably have a better idea of what that is. So, but Gestalt's a process. It realizes that we are every one of us, a unique individual. You don't get to be maybe even a teenager, certainly a young adult, and certainly 35 years old without having some experience or experiences in your life that have impacted you in a way that was hurtful, harmful to your spirit or your body or your mind that just starts playing games with you. Gestalt's just a way to unwind that story. There's no one way to figure out something that will work for everybody because that's not who we are. We're personalities. We're individuals. And that's what I love about Gestalt. Gestalt's important to me.
Yeah. I would always say, like, for years now, I've said, like, your answers are not outside of you. Your answers are inside of you. And as I've gone through these interviews, like, this seems to be sort of at the heart of what this therapy is like getting people to find their own, well, I mean, into the name of this episode, like finding your inner voice, like you get to find your voice, your answers from you.
I'm the only one who knows my answer. But I can be confused. And the muddy, there are parts of my life that I felt like, I'm going to say chocolate pudding, but you can play with that idea. If you want.
I got you. Wink,
wink. I found myself walking through chocolate pudding and nothing made sense. And the world was a sour, ugly place. And it doesn't have to be. So there's a way out. And it's, I couldn't have done it by myself though. I think that's one of the keys. We can't really do it by ourselves. Sometimes you have to sit down and communicate with another person or walk beside a horse and lean into their wisdom and their knowledge and their strength. Regroup, ground yourself, take off again.
I love that. I feel like that's another theme I've seen in these interviews is that the work done not on your own, but the work done with a coach and a horse accelerates the access to that clarity or that voice, right? Versus if you were trying to go sit on a mountaintop, it might take you a while in life, like a couple decades, to try to access what's hard to access on your own.
But my experience in Denver 25 years ago was maybe an hour and a half. And that
with somebody else, there was somebody else there with you, right? Yeah.
As my guide, and those night terrors were gone. They were gone.
Right.
So,
yes, I love that. So powerful.
Not everything goes that quickly, maybe, but it can. I mean, that was a place in my life that was a horrible place to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So when people come to you, who comes to you for who comes to work with you?
Okay.
Who do you serve?
I've worked a variety of different clients. I've done some couples work, and that's been a lot of fun.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I've got actually that was in our first book, which I'm going to lead into our books here in a second. But
yeah.
I have a very strong connection to women who feel like they don't have a voice, don't feel their own power. And it is hard to find it someplace. I so know how hard it is, but it can be done. Let's do it. I'll help you. So,
that's beautiful.
My first client ever was a young businessman in Boulder who had some things going on in his life and was referred to me. And that was a totally different scenario and a lot of fun too. I've owned my own business for years and years and years. I'm an equine gestalt coach. I've also a real estate appraiser since, well, I'm not going to tell you how long. Can I put up my flyer here also?
Sure.
This is a summer camp. 2019 will be year 5 for us.
Wow.
And our summer camp is for kids 8 to 12. It's here at my little farm, Dragonfly Farm. And our goal is to, again, help these kids find their voice. Build self-confidence.
What age range? What age range? Yeah.
8 to 12 is pretty.
Wow.
Pretty, but we've been younger and we've been a little bit older. But that's 8 to 12.
Is the camp like a couple days? Is it overnight camp? How does it work?
This is a day camp from 9 to 3.
Is it one day or is it multiple days?
It's a week.
Oh, wow. Cool.
A week in June and a week in July, kind of the middle of those 2 months. And then at the end on Friday, we have an accomplishment ceremony where the kids get to show their parents and their friends and their siblings something that they've learned in camp. And I never made it through one without crying. So
yeah, I can imagine. Do you go through some of the same work, the Gestalt work with the kids?
Gestalt work with an adult is a lot of times based on metaphor.
Yeah.
Kids this age are not into, they're not ready for metaphor.
Yeah.
Here's what I totally feel with all my heart and soul is that this is a great place for kids to begin realizing the energy of the world and how our energies work together. And in learning how to meet a horse that they don't know and they can't speak its language and get things done and communicate and care for and be with and love on, they can take that and move it into moving into middle school.
Right.
Where they don't know anybody or the people in their class are different and they have to start over. So the things are the same. We have a thing before they enter the gate to go in with the horses. We take 3 deep breaths and we find our quiet heart. And when you get there, then they can walk in and be with the horses.
I love when I think about finding your inner voice, that the idea that kids 8 to 12 or just kids in general would have access to that conversation. Most kids don't have access to a conversation about finding their inner voice. And so I think a lot of times kids grow up feeling like they're not enough. They feel like they're looking outside of themselves for approval. And I think when
they start there, Chris, they take it with it through the rest of their lives.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Absolutely. No, I love this. I love that you get to do this with kids.
And it is called Camp Unplugged. And the idea was a silly one, and then it turned into something kind of important. But the idea was to ask them to unplug from their devices from 9 to 3.
Nice.
Nobody's ever complained.
Yeah.
And tune into nature. I'm a certified herbalist. I've studied energy work and energy healing for 25 years. And I have 8 horses here who live with me at Dragonfly Farm. I feed them. They take care of me.
Wow. That's amazing. What, if I think about if I'm just wrapping it down here, but I'm thinking about those who are trying to find their inner voice. What is one of the hurdles common threads, right? Common hurdles that you see people wrestle with in finding their inner voice? Like, why can't they find it before they get to you?
I think because there's a couple of things, and it's sometimes people say, I have no choice. I have no choice. The flip side of that is whether women come and they say, I have too many choices. I can't figure it out. I'm overloaded, I can just blah, 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 blah. So the part about coming and sitting with a third party, with me and with my horses, is that we'll just take it apart piece by piece. We have all the time. I have no vested interest in whether or not they finish a project or not. My only interest is that they walk away feeling better about themselves and learning to listen to their own intuition and being able to, and together we'll sort things out. So
yeah,
I'm going to plug the book, Chris.
Yeah. Plug the book. This is the first we've seen it. We're in 5 episodes, and this is like maybe the first we've seen the book, the actor's jacket cover. Like, let's see it again.
All right. So let me see. Can you see
works, yeah. Is this the first one? Oh, this is volume 3. So this is the one that this
volume 3.
Yep. Everybody that we've interviewed here, this is what they've written in. Yeah.
Everybody that you have interviewed in your series has a story in this book.
Yes.
And here's one of the things, because the work that we do, the Gestalt work with horses, can look so different and has so many different applications, and that sometimes it's hard for people to understand. So I'm the contributing editor on these we have 3 volumes, and we put them together book by book, and it shows all the different ranges and all the different ways that the horses can step in so many different ways to be with us and help us get to where we want to be. And if we have a few minutes, I'd like to read a little section here.
Absolutely.
Piece of my story. I had something else I was going to say, but it's ding. Okay.
Before you say that, before you read that, I just want to also say, like, one of the questions that I'll have in these interviews has been, what does it look like? So it sounds like the book, if you listening to this, go read the book, you'll actually get a sense of how the horses are interacting in this type of work. Yes?
Yes. When the first book came out, I bought one for every member of my family and gave it to them for Christmas. And my mom called me back and she said, oh, I get it. I finally understand what you're doing and why you want to do this. And for me, those words were awesome, because that was my goal, to help you as a reader understand what this can look like. And can it help you? I think it can. I think it has a wide base.
So good. Yeah. So good. I love it.
If my mom can get it, I know if people can get it, because the stories are well written, they're fun, and they are so diverse that no 2 stories are alike in any of the 3 volumes.
Yeah, that's so great. I love it. Yeah, everybody needs to go get that book so you can just see the kind of work that gets done. Well, take me through what you got.
Well, this is just something I was looking through. I read my story this morning and when I was getting ready to talk to you. So.
Yeah.
And so as a result of my own life experience, I strongly believe that those things that initially look like life-destroying events can become the first step on the road to becoming the person you are meant to be. Gestalt and meditation taught me to be still, to give my client time for things to begin percolating in their own consciousness. Horses have taught me to live in the now, in this moment. And because of this, I have witnessed many miracles. The miracles that I would like to share with you often involve a horse.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, that is a great segue for an invitation. I would love to invite people to connect with you and work with you. If people are interested in working with you, how do they reach you?
I have a website on thewingsofahorse.com.
Perfect. Which is the name of your business, yes? On the Wings of a Horse.
Yeah.
I love it.
In that, on my website, I have a little bit about me. I have a little bit about my horses. I have a bit about the summer camp for kids. And so there's a contact page. And if anybody's interested in this book, I think you can probably get it on Amazon and stuff. But if you also want to contact me, just contact me and shoot me an email, and I will put that all together for us.
That's great. I love it. So you guys can go to onthewingsofahorse.com to connect with Annette. Annette, thanks for your time today. I love this important work in the world. I think it's helping people find their inner voice. It's so powerful, not only for the individual, but for what it makes available for the rest of us. So thanks for your work, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Bye.